Hi everybody, my name is Kyle Jetzel and I'm really excited today because I can't wait to get you a free download of my book, my new book, Thrive in Chaos. It's the same one you can get on Amazon for $19.99, and all I'm going to ask from you is just to pay a small handling cost of $1.99. Now you may be asking yourself, if it's a download, why would I pay $1.99? And I want to answer that real quickly for you because I learned something a few years ago. When we first wrote the book, we were so excited, kind of like I am now, to get this in your hands. But we were so excited that we went out and purchased 30 of our books. And we were asked to speak at a conference. And after the conference, we spoke on Thriving in Chaos. Afterwards, we went out and we gave away 30 copies of this book. And we were so excited to get it in people's hands. And they knew the value. They were just in our presentation. So they understood the value of the book. But one of the requirements was they had to give us their email and phone number so that we could follow up and see how they were doing. Well, it turns out, of the 30 books we gave away, only one had been read. And it made us start to realize that people don't value things that they don't necessarily pay for. And so I'm asking you to pay a $1.99 handling fee just to commit to the value that you know is there. Now, the interesting thing is we spoke at another conference a couple of months later, and they came to our presentation, and afterwards we charged $20 for this book. Now, we sold 30 of them, and I think we probably could have sold a whole bunch more had we had them. But here was the interesting thing. We followed up with those 30 people, and 29 of those 30 had actually read it. So that's the reason I'm asking you to pay a $1.99 handling fee, because I want just a small commitment from you. I know if I can get a commitment from you, then you'll most likely read it and you'll start to get in there. So I just wanted to cover that real quickly, but let me tell you why I'm so excited to get this in your hands and what's in it and why it's so important that I think you should have it. So when my wife and I first got married more than 25 years ago, we determined together that we were going to create a happy family. We were going to build the kind of family that I think we all want. A family where we love each other, where we're kind to each other, where we treat each other with respect, and really just kindness and love, and there was a lot of fun and joy in our home. And we had started to build that as a family. At the time, we had 2 sons, and things were going really well. You know, we were happy. There was a lot of excitement in our home. Our kids had just gotten in school, and things were going great. And then our number 3 son came along, and everything changed dramatically. All of a sudden, we started to see behavior exhibited for him that was just, we didn't know what to call it. It was wacky. It was crazy. He would melt down. He'd have these crazy, aggressive moments. He would throw these crazy fits. And honestly, my wife and I started to get scared. We kind of thought we had lost all ability to parent properly. Well, when he was about 4, we had someone come up to us and ask us if we'd ever had him tested for autism. And we really didn't know anything about autism at the time, but we thought it was a good idea because something was going on. Well, as you can imagine, he was diagnosed on the autism spectrum. And at that moment, I remember looking at my wife and thinking, well, at least we kind of know what to do now. And so, you know, we did what I think every parent does. We read all the books. We got him in therapies. We researched everything we possibly could and started to apply as many things as we could. But what wasn't happening is we weren't recovering the happiness and joy in our home. There was still tension. It felt like he was running our home. We were all so afraid to say or do the wrong thing, to tip him into a state of frustration or anger, or there was just so much tension in our home, it was just overwhelming. And I remember after about a year and a half of this, he had another severe meltdown, and it resulted in my wife and I having a real serious argument. And we were just at our wits' end. We were scared, we were tired, we were frustrated. We were living a life where we just felt like we were just coping. We were just trying to survive. We weren't thriving. And after this horrible fight my wife and I had, I remember going outside and starting to cool down a little bit, and I remember thinking to myself, this isn't what I signed up for. So after a few minutes of cooling down, I walked back inside and started talking to my wife. And first I apologized because I'm sure I said some things I shouldn't have said. And she apologized too. And then I said, you know what? This isn't what I signed up for. And when she said, this isn't what I signed up for either, back to me, we both knew we had to make a change. And we had to repair and bring back the happiness. We had to lower the tension and the frustration and replace that with happiness and joy. And we needed to start to thrive. And that is what we put in this book. That is really what started to change our lives at that moment. There was no guide. There was books on almost everything, but there was not a definitive guide on how to thrive as you raised kids that were on the autism spectrum. Now, and again, that's what's in this book. And I recall as we started to develop this curriculum for our family, we started to have really good results very quickly. And other people in the community started to see that. And so we started being asked to speak at conferences and do a lot of things in the community. And I'll never forget one time we were at a conference and we spoke to a group of about 100 people. And I didn't know this, but at the back of the room there was a lady named Darcy. And Darcy had come to our presentation because she wanted us to fix her issues. But what Darcy didn't really need was us to fix her issues. You know, it really very rarely in working with our family and a lot of other families now is autism the real problem. It's usually something a little deeper and a little harder to see than you can imagine. And that's what's in this book, and that's what we teach you, how to identify those things. Well, after the presentation was over, it was towards the end of the day, and we came back the next day it was a 2-day conference, and we were standing at our booth, and I recall looking over and the door kind of swinging open, and there was Darcy, and she came running towards us. And it really kind of scared me. I didn't really know what was going on or what to expect. Well, Darcy was moving in and out of people, and then by the time she got to me, she threw her arms open and just gave me a big hug. And she said to me, "Thank you." And I said, "You're welcome. I'm not sure what for, but you're welcome." And she said, "You know what? This morning," she said, "first of all, I was in your presentation yesterday, and this morning, I have a 6-year-old son that's on the autism spectrum, and he wouldn't put on his shoes to go to school. And I was getting frustrated, and he was getting frustrated, and I could feel that this was not going to be a good day. And I started to tell myself, I can't believe this. I just went to a conference yesterday where I was taught some techniques, and then she remembered one core principle that we taught her. And she said she started applying that principle. She started smiling. Her son started smiling, and very shortly after that, they played a game where he put his shoes on. She got him off to school happy, and she came to the conference, the second day of the conference, very happy. And she was so excited because she said, it worked. That one core principle that you taught us worked. And imagine that. Imagine if you could very quickly take a situation that you know is starting to go bad and apply a very simple principle and flip it. And that's what we teach in this book. As a matter of fact, it's on page 209 is exactly where that principle is. And I've got them marked here. But not only that, but we have a section on strengthening your relationships. You know, when you're in this situation, it can tear parents apart or spouses apart. And it can really drive a wedge in between the family because the tension is so strong. And so we talk about that. We also talk about discouragement. And I believe that's on page 189 is where that's at. And we also even cover, we just cover all kinds of different ways to manage your situation and start to thrive in chaos. So you need to get this copy. And I know I'm charging you $1.99 handling, but believe me, I want to know who's ready. If $1.99, if you're not willing to commit $1.99 to start to thrive in your family, then maybe this isn't for you right now, but I really want you to have a copy of this book. So I want you to put your information in there. Don't wait. The time is now to start thriving in the chaos. You can do it. We did it. I want you to experience what we have in our family. I have 6 children now. My 2 oldest are 22 and 20. I have a 17 and a 14-year-old that are on the autism spectrum, and I have 8-year-old twins. And there's not a family, I promise you, that has more fun and experiences more joy even as we raise those boys on the autism spectrum. And it's all in this book. Everything you need to know is in this book. I really want you to have a copy of this, but I want you to be committed. So put your information in there, click the button, get started today. And imagine, what if one principle in here does for you what it did for Darcy? Just imagine that. The time is now to start getting away from that pain and getting away from the frustration and lowering the tension in your home and starting to repair and bring back the happiness and joy that you wanted in your family when you first start your family. So I really want you to have this. I can't beg you enough to put your information in there. I can't wait for you to get this book, and I can't wait for you to give me feedback, and I can't wait for you to start thriving like our family has. So put your information in here. You can get a download immediately. There's no risk. It's $1.99, people. Come on. If make a commitment to yourself, make a commitment to your family. It's $1.99 and get the book. You'll be excited you did, and I can't wait to hear some results you have. So do it now. I can't wait. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.